Today I'm going to talk about the flex potential value of champs that can be played in the top lane. This is to help people draft better and adapt to the enemy and hide your own picks. So to begin with, we're going to start off with Akshan. Akshan is a two-way flex potential champion. He can be played both top and mid. This is mostly going to be focused around top lane. These are all champs which can be played in the top lane and a couple other roles. So we will move on from there. Someone like Rengar, there was a stint where he could be played in the mid lane when you're running the Ivan-Rengar duo, but that seems to have mostly faded. I think Rengar can still be played in the mid lane, but without very much data to go on, and him being tied very much to one champion. I will leave Rengar with 2, because Rengar can be played both top and he can be played jungle. Aurelia is a two-way flex pick as well. She can be played both top and mid. Riven is a top and mid champ. A lot of these top laners are actually stronger in the mid lane. They are just preferred to be played in the top lane. So like Riven, really strong in the mid lane. You can run Eclipse, you can run Gordrinker, you can run Lethality. There is a lot of value in this champion. Fiora is very much tied to the top lane. There was a time where you could play Fiora jungle. I don't think that really exists anymore. Plus, Ravenous being continuously hit over and over again, I don't think Fiora jungle is something which will surface, so it's very unlikely, but maybe there's a Fiora jungle out there. But yeah, for the most part, she can only play one role. Yasuo is a three-way pick. He can be played both he can be played ADC, mid, and top. His ADC days are kind of over. We don't see much Yasuo ADC anymore. And even Yasuo top is a bit more faded from what it used to be. Yasuo isn't as popular as he used to be, so he sees less games than the other roles. But overall, he can still be played 3 roles. Rumble can be played 4 roles, actually. Rumble support was played in the LCK by Carrier. It's something which can work into a lot of lanes. He can also be played jungle, top, and mid as a very brute force answer to a lot of things if you need AP damage. Very good champion to learn. Cassante is very much a top laner. We haven't really seen him get played any other roles other than top. Maybe Cassante mid can work, but it's very unlikely. Alawi can be played in the mid lane. Alawi's actually a pretty good mid laner. If you know how to push waves and manage your waves in the mid lane, she's really strong there. She can beat out most mid laners. Nah used to be played mid. Don't really see him played mid. We don't also see him played jungle at all. So Nah is very much tight at the top lane. Heimerdinger is an ADC. He is a mid laner. He is a top laner. He is a support. Heimerdinger can be flexed 4 roles. He should see some nerfs at some point. I'm surprised he's kind of gone without nerfs for as long as he has when he is such a strong support. But for the moment, Heimerdinger can be played in 4 roles. Camille is mostly 1 role. There are people who try and make Camille jungle work, and Camille mid did work for a bit. If anything, Camille is more of a mid laner than a jungler, but she can play both top and mid. I don't really think you're going to play her anywhere else. Someone has tried Camille support. It's not great, so I'd stick to I'd stick to top mid Camille. Vladimir is played in 2 roles. He's played top mid. Akali is played top mid. Yone is played top mid. You don't see ADC Yone, so that kind of takes that one out of the equation. There was a time where Yone jungle was played, but don't really see that anymore. Jax is a jungle top flex pick. There might be a chance he sees some mid play with the changes coming up, but I think it's unlikely. But who knows? Maybe AP Jax sees him as a 3-way flex pick and he jumps into the B tier. No, I'll put him in the B tier because I have a feeling we might see some AP Jax mids. Poppy is a support jungler, a top laner. She can be possibly played mid, but you don't really see it, so she's a 3-way flex pick. Cassiopeia is a 3-way flex pick as well. She can be played ADC, mid, and top. Gragas is a 4-way flex pick. He can be played in mid, top, jungle, and support. He's actually pretty good in most of the roles. There's a chance top is even his weakest role. Darius is very much tied to the top lane. You don't really see Darius going elsewhere. I say that Darius jungle is something I used to play Darius jungle quite a bit. I think there's still a space for Darius jungle, so I actually put him as a 2 role. It's worth trying. He clears really quickly. His bleed does 300% damage to monsters, I'm pretty sure. Gwen is also kind of similar. She can both top and jungle. Graves is a 3-way flex pick. He can top jungle and mid. Rise is a 2-way. He can top mid. Jace is also a two-way. He can top mid. Aatrox can top mid as well. I think mid usually go the electrocute build and go more damage heavy over the more bruiser focused builds in the top lane. Gangplank, you can be play. Gangplank is played quite a bit mid lane actually, so you can play him both top and mid. Singed is top mid. I see some Singed supports because of Lahens, and I see some Singed jungles because One Trick sometimes play him in the jungle. But for the most part, he is a top mid. If we saw more Singed support, maybe I'll put him as a freeway, but at the moment he's very much top mid. Swain is top mid support ADC. He can be played in 4 roles. He's a very fun champion. I definitely recommend playing him. He is very fun to play. Vayne is a top mid and ADC. She can be played in all 3 as a counter pick or a response champ to a lot of things. So definitely worth putting time into. She's on the weaker side at the moment. She might see some buffs. I hope she doesn't. I think Vayne or having a win rate on the lower side is good. Because if Vayne's win rate is high and she's being played into a lot of things, then she is strong. When she's being played as she's not being played as a response at that point. She's being played just all round, which is an unhealthy place for Vayne to be, unless they nerf her true damage. Renekton can be played top mid. Lethality for both at the moment. I don't think Bruiser Renekton's already played that much in the top lane. Bruiser Renekton shouldn't be played as much as it is in the top lane. There is still a space for it, but not as much as it used to be. Lilia is a top jungle flex pick. She's getting nerfed again this patch. Maybe she fades out the top lane, but I doubt it. Pantheon is a jungle mid top support flex pick. He can be played in all 4 roles. His support win rate is atrocious, but it's usually his most played role. His top lane's really strong. His jungle's not bad, and his mid lane's pretty strong as well. So definitely play him top or mid. Kled is a top or mid pick. He is pretty good in both at the moment, mainly because of Ravenous into Eclipse. You can go Ravenous into Jaxxa as well. Kennen is a top mid flex pick as well. Karma is a freeway flex pick. You can play her top mid and support. Top mid are a lot less common than they used to be, but they still do work. Kale is a top mid flex pick. Cho'Gath is a top mid as well. Quinn is a top mid as well. Quinn mid's actually pretty good. I recommend trying it if anyone plays Quinn in the first place. Wukong can be played top mid and jungle. Mid is a lot less common, but mid Wukong's pretty good. The AD ratio on his R massively helped mid Wukong. I can't say enough how much it really helped. Like 55% slapped on top, I'm pretty sure it was. Really, really good. Definitely try it. Yorick is a top lane exclusive champ. You don't really see mid Yoricks or jungle Yoricks. Jungle Yorick used to be something people played, but don't really see it anymore. Teemo is played in 4 roles. You can play Teemo jungle, it does work. You can play Teemo support, it does work. Teemo mid and Teemo top are his most played roles, but the other 2 do work, and they work quite well. Soraka is a freeway flex pick, 4-way if you include Soraka ADC. I think you can play Soraka ADC quite well, but because no one plays it, I'm going to put it in a free roll. Top mid are really good, possibly even better than support. They're just not played a lot. I definitely recommend trying Soraka during this preseason as a top or mid pick. Sion can be played as a jungler, he can be played as a top laner, even played as a mid laner, and fasting Senna. So anything which is a fasting Senna bot lane, I'm not really going to include because it's very much tied to a single champ. Something like Cho'Gath is also a fasting Senna bot lane, but not ready at the moment. So I think Sion is a freeway flex pick. Maybe there's an argument that he's 4 if you include kind of like his bot support presence with Senna, but not really. Shen is a freeway flex pick, possibly 4. Expetu has been messing around with Shen mid and it has had good results, so I'm actually going to put him in a 4-role flex pick. He's actually really good across all the roles he can be played in. Jungle not as much, but jungle Shen does work, especially when you go Tiamat early on, but Tiamat nerfs will actually hurt jungle Shen, so maybe he's just a freeway for the moment. Ornn is a freeway flex pick. You can play him mid, jungle and top. Jungle Ornn is actually pretty good. I don't know if it's as good as it used to be in this current preseason, but it was pretty good. So Ornn jungle is definitely worth trying, and Ornn mid does work quite well. Olaf is a 2-way flex pick. good top laner and jungler. Nasus is a... I guess you could call him a 4-way flex pick, but the Nasus jungle's pretty awful and it's very troll when most people play it. People just play it because of the funny stack number, but I guess technically because there's a big player base for it, Nasus jungle does count. Nasus support is, well, it was the talk of Worlds whether this thing would take over. It got played once, it did nothing for the entire game. It was put in a really bad spot. This is just the LS champ. It's not, that's the support is just LS. Yeah, and Trimby played it once and it looks pretty horrific, but we move. Mod can be played in 3 roles. He can be played mid, jungle, and top. His jungle is being nerfed again. I mean, all roles are being nerfed because of the Jack show and his W shield is going down. But he will still be a 3-way flex pick, I don't doubt that. Maokai can be played in 3 roles. He can be played as a jungle support top. Sejuani can be played jungle top and support. Maybe, not really. I've seen some Sejuani supports. It doesn't appear that often, and I wouldn't really consider it that viable. Even Sejuani tops on the ropes at the moment. It's not doing too good. Work can be played both jungle top. Ude can be played both jungle top. Argot can be played top lane. You don't really see jungle Argots or mid lane Argots anymore. You don't even see support Argots, and I know that was a thing for a bit. Volibear is a jungle top flex. Stop going Riftmaker Volibear, please. It's bad. Silas is a top jungle mid flex. Feels weird. Jungle Silas is back. He's even a support flex actually. When Varus and Leona were good, you could play Silas as a response pick. I actually consider that good enough because he's a good response. So I think he's an A-tier pick. Don't play it into bad things though. Don't blind this champ either if you're playing it support. Because if you're going against a bot lane which you don't have good odds to steal, it is horrific. You won't get any value out of it. Tryndamere is a mid-top jungle flex. Jungle Tryndamere doesn't really exist that much anymore, but it's still played. Mid Tryndamere is, well, I mean, the Nemesis special, so I mean, I guess Chovy played it as well, but yeah. And then top Tryndamere is his most played. Zac can be played support, he can be played jungle, he can be played mid, he can be played top. He actually has a lot of different roles he can play. You can play them all tank. You can also play a couple as like hybrid AP builds. But for the most part, Zac is a pretty good 4-way flex pick. Malphite can be played top and mid. Don't play him jungle, it's terrible. Don't play him support, it's also terrible. Just stick to the 2 roles, please. Mundo can be played jungle and top at the moment. We're gonna see some nerfs to him. I wonder if they'll nerf his jungle, but I reckon they'll just nerf him across the board. He is stuck to those 2 roles. And Nivea. Okay, this is where we get into a couple of champs which I've thrown in here because they can actually work in the top lane. And Nivea was played a couple of times as a top laner. She does work as a good response pick. You can move her from the mid lane into the top lane. She's also a pretty good support in certain scenarios, so she can go and beat her. She synergizes with some combos. Elise can be played mid, jungle, and top. Mid and top are kind of like hidden OP things where you can just bully the hell out of your laner, but people don't realize the power of Elise. You go PTA when you're playing in lane, I'm pretty sure, and then you go Nash's first, from what I've heard, but she's actually pretty good in both those roles. Elise support can be a thing played every so often, but it's not really. So mid jungle top, definitely all viable roles for Elise. Garen can be played ADC slightly if you're running it with a Yuumi maybe, but I don't think that's really existing at the moment. So I think he is a free roll flex pick though. I think you can play him both. You can play him in the jungle, you can play him in the mid lane, you can play him in the top lane. He actually has a lot of options. Jungle Garen has a pretty good clear speed as well. Set is a support. He does work there. He works in the mid lane. He works in the top lane. He doesn't really work in the jungle anymore. They kind of nerfed that out of him, but he works in those 3 roles. Tom Kench is a support top laner, and that's about it. I guess you can count Fasting Center as this is like the main duo, but for the most part, he's a support top laner. As it can be played top. It's not bad. Like, don't get me wrong, it works into a lot of things. Mid is areas where you're going to mostly play him, but I'd say it can be played in 2 roles. Trundle can be played in 3. He works well as a support, as a response pick into a tank, something like Leona. He works well into AD melee champs in the top lane as it's just an answer. He can stat drain them and take away some of their AD, which is quite valuable. And of course, he works well as a jungler. Ivan can be played in 3 roles. He can be possibly played in the bot lane as a support, but I don't really see that much. Ivan solo lane is good. Not just because LS said it, but it's actually good. LS has plagued these. Like, I will mention a champ and then people are like, oh, you're putting it there because LS has said it works. But no. Ivan lane does work. It's actually pretty good. LS does have some good takes. Some I do question, but I think for the most part, a lot of his takes are pretty good. Jarvan is a terrible top laner. I'm not going to lie. He's pretty just awful at the moment in general. You can play him in 3 roles. A lot of it is tied into Kalista as well, though, when you're playing him support. But Jarvan you can play as a support on the odd occasion. Lethality Jarvan mid doesn't really exist, so it's mostly just jungle top support Jarvan. And you're kind of tied to Kalista in the bot lane. But you can play it without Kalista. His E is a pretty good boost. Karthus can be played every single role. I think he's the only one from what I can think of. Yeah, he works in like every single role. I think the value of the Karthus is that he's a 5-way flex pick. Support Karthus isn't amazing, but because of the value of your W and your just damage in general, you can it does work, definitely. So I think Karthus is a 5-way flex pick. Kindred can be played top, mid, and jungle. She's actually pretty good in all 3. She's a response pick in the top lane for the most part, but you can play her pretty blind mid, and you can play her pretty blind in the jungle. I'd say mid is the most blindable, but as a jungle, you can be a response pick. Nico can be played top, support, and mid. She's being changed fairly soon, but for the most part, she can play in the 3 roles. On hit, Nico is actually pretty good. People just don't play it that much, so definitely consider it. Malzahar is played in the top lane and mid lane. I play Malzahar top. Yes, I know it's not fun to play against, and Malzahar is the most boring champion in the game, but I enjoy playing with champs, so shut up. Lulu can be played support, mid, and top. She actually has value in all 3 roles. Her top lane and her mid lane are nowhere as good as it used to be. She's mostly a support, but she does work in all 3. Naida can be played in the top lane. I mean, Drew plays it, so it works. Yeah, you can play top lane Nyla, and you can play ADC Nyla. Draven, well, I mean, that's a T1 special, isn't it? You can play this top and ADC as well. There's a couple ADCs you can get away with. Kiana can be played top, jungle, and mid. Has a lot of value in all 3. Pretty good. Samira can be played ADC and top, courtesy of Drew again. I mean, like Drew plays Nyla, Samira. He plays too much. Shyvana can be played top jungle. Her top is terrible at the moment. She's an awful top laner, but you can play it. So I mean, you do you, I guess. I want that champ to be viable on the top lane again, please. Right, please. Skarner can be played in the top lane. Skarner's getting reworked soon. He needs it. The champ design is terrible. He's a terrible designed champ, and if he's strong, he's overpowered. If he's weak, he's kind of meh. No one plays him. Syndra can be played ADC, mid, top, and support. She actually has value on all 4, so I think I'll put her in 80. She's not. She's definitely more mid-skewed than she used to be, but you can play her in all 4 roles, and it does work. Tack can be played top, jungle, and support. He's actually pretty good in all 3. I think his top's not as good as it used to be. I think losing old Frostfire was actually pretty bad for him, but it still does work. Tristana can be played in 3 roles. She's a good mid laner. She's a good top laner. I don't get why pros aren't playing it. They should, because she's stronger than she used to be back when people actually did play her. Twitch can be played top, jungle, mid, support. You know what? Twitch can be played everywhere at the moment. Twitch AP just allows him this ability to go anywhere and just win, because he only needs gold, so he doesn't even need to farm up well. He can just run around the map, kill people, and scale. It's ridiculous. Shaco, well, I mean, there's some psychopaths in this game, so, well, I mean, people play it. Pinkwood, fair enough, he plays it well, so I can't argue with that. Yeah, Shaco can be played in 3 roles. He can be played support, jungle, top. Zidane can be played support, mid, top. Zed can be played mid, top, jungle. He's not a bad top laner. He's getting nerfed quite hard. Next patch we'll probably see Zed fall out of the top lane. It's very much a here and now. Xin Zhao, I don't know why I put him here. I mean, Xin can work in the top lane. He's not as strong as he used to be, but Xin mid and Xin top can be played. I'll take him out. He's not really played in the top lane at the moment. Victor can be played both top and mid. He's actually a pretty good flex pick. And Viego can be played top, mid, and jungle as well. He's a pretty good flex pick. He has a lot of value in the top lane. People kind of assumed that he was just gone after the nerfs to his sustain from minions, but if you're going bulk first, you can get that lifesteal back. There might even be a world where Ravenous Viego first is actually a good thing to do, so we'll see. But overall, this is the value of flex picks in the game at the moment. You can use this to adapt to the enemy drafts and hide your own picks, and hopefully this will help you draft better. So if you enjoy the content, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.